Here's why I believe MCAT and GPA must be completely banned as part of the medical school admissions process. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, because I know a lot of you are, obsessed, stressed over getting your MCAT and GPA scores high for that chance to get into medical school. A lot of people don't get in because of MCAT and GPA. But in my opinion, I want to tell you why these tests are completely BS. And I literally think they should be banned. They're that bad. They should be literally banned. And literally today, they should be banned. They're that bad. Of course, it's part of your requirements. You have to do this until they get banned, hopefully in a very near future. And in case you haven't watched any of these, first I'd like to start by introducing myself. My name is Baruz Momeni. I'm the CEO and founder here at BMO. And in case you haven't watched any of these, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Admissions Expert One Question podcast, where I take one topic, slice and dice it in many different ways to try to tell you what I think you should do in certain circumstances during your medical journey, and hope to help you to avoid the mistakes we've seen some of the other students make, and also to give you some of the knowledge from our learning as we help other students in our private consultation sessions. However, these videos that I make for you, or podcast episodes, are completely free. There's nothing to sell you. I'm going to share everything I know about that topic as much as possible, so you can do everything on your own, so that you have the best access to information, because I would not want you to be delayed or rejected just because you don't have access to information. So with that said, I want to get back to MCAT and GPA, and let's rock and roll. So today's topic, MCAT and GPA. They're complete bullshit, my opinion. And my opinion is not necessarily based on willy-nilly. I didn't wake up on the wrong side of the bed to tell you this. I didn't just dream it up. There's a reason for it. There's been lots of studies about these, first of all. Two, I want to go through like this step by step. But before I do that, at the end of the day, I don't want to take a completely extremist version on this. I do want to tell you what it could possibly be good for if it was used for that. And then I'll wrap up with a lot of reasons why it should not be used, and then eventually why it's complete garbage. So what could MCAT and GPA be used for that could be a good indicator of a future doctor? Well, or a medical student at least. The thing that it can be used for, it can be used to show the level of the person learning something new. So for example, MCAT, okay, something new. There's going to be a lot of new things we'll have to learn in medical school, and eventually for life as a medical professional. So it's good for that. And having to get used to the format, to stress of the format, and the timing, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So it's good for that. Is it? Nah, maybe. The other thing that maybe it could be good for is the fact that it could show conscientiousness. Did you take enough time to prepare? Did you put enough time and effort into your GPA and MCAT? Were you patient enough? Because like GPA is a 3 or 4 year game, depending on where you're applying to medical school, right? And you have to be consistent. So it also tells the person a little bit about your consistency. Whether or not it correlates with anything, that's another story. So could it tell whether the person has the ability to teach something new? Maybe. Could it give an indication of the person's conscientiousness levels, ability to plan in advance, remain consistent, attention to detail, etc., as part of the broad conscientious levels of personality? Maybe. Now here's the things that it does not do very well. So what's the argument for their use? The argument for their use is that they're good predictors of success in medical school, and most importantly, beyond medical school. That means they're good predictors of whether or not you're going to be a good medical doctor, this is how I see them defining it. Now, does it do that? I don't think so. So why would I say that? First of all, the data is usually not best, and it suffers, really amateur stuff. It's like people who publish these things are just like amateur scientists. Most of it, again, I'm generalizing here. I'm not saying all. Most of them suffer from law of small numbers, or understanding basic statistics, or understanding the law of large numbers versus small numbers, or understanding probability. I'm not going to go into this because it's going to get heavy math, and I don't want to tell you about the math behind it, but this is essentially, if you understand that some of these concepts, you review the papers written mostly to show correlation between GPA or MCAT with future performance as being a good doctor in the future, this is what it normally suffers from. There's also normally a sampling error. Instead of getting a sample that is representative of the general population, the sampling, there's like ridiculous sampling errors that just boggles my mind. There's inconsistent data. One researcher finds this, another researcher finds that. When there's inconsistent data, so here's the thing, in science, this is how it works. Everything is a theory, okay? Especially for social sciences. It's just really hard. Everything's a theory. When you publish a paper in support of that theory, the theory is still a theory, it's a hypothesis. But the minute you publish something that can show that the hypothesis is disproved, it's over. One negative, normally it's over if it's been done with a good method and scientific method and understanding of probability and statistics, but 1,000 positive results don't make this thing still a fact. It's still a hypothesis. That's what science is all about, but these people don't normally seem to understand that. The other very important reason I say these GPA and MCAT are BS is because they cannot predict intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is the desire to want to engage in an activity because the activity itself is joyful, is a source of joy. So it becomes a positive feedback loop and you want to do more of it and get better at it and do more and more and more and more. And you're happy doing it. Instead of extrinsic motivation, where you do it because you're worried your friends would laugh, or because your friends are doing it, so social pressure, or because you want money, or you want fame, or you want that, like your primary objective is something extrinsic. Those type of things, the minute the extrinsic reward or punishment is removed, the activity will instantly stop. That's not what you want a doctor to work on. The doctor needs to be intrinsically motivated with the process, the science, the patient interaction, the puzzles of trying to figure different cases and diagnose different cases. That's what you want. And GPA and MCAT, I have not seen any convincing evidence or any evidence at all that they could predict intrinsic motivation. Here's the other thing, and if there is any correlation found in these studies, and correlation doesn't mean causation, so just a correlation, it's usually a correlation with future tests. So GPA predicts performance in some other test. MCAT predicts performance in some other test. That means they're not a predictor of future on-the-job behavior. They're a predictor of future test behavior. So that means you're just a good test taker if you know how to do well on these. Well, good for you. Well, if you're a good test taker, you're not going to be a good doctor necessarily. That makes no sense. I don't want a good test taker doctor. I want a doctor who is able to actually have compassion, actually want to do the work, and actually can figure what's wrong with me and actually be able to treat me well based on evidence, not someone who has been selected based on science that's flawed to begin with. I don't want that at all. So that's like a fundamental flaw with GPA and MCAT. Another thing I'll tell you is that there is possibly a conflict of interest. So do you understand that you have to pay to take the MCAT? I don't care if the organizers are a non-profit organization. Non-profit means nothing when people are not volunteers. People are making money from it, right? When people are making hundreds of millions of dollars. Non-profit is just a little play on words. It means nothing. There's still be money being made, money exchanging hand, money controlling thoughts, money controlling actions. And it's, it's fine. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't have any problem with money. I have businesses where I charge people, and I charge people handsomely because Me and my team, we do a fantastic job on getting results. But this is not getting results. This is a flawed test. It must be banned. And people, since there's now a conflict of interest and people are making money out of it, they're not willing to just dismantle this. Doesn't matter how much I come on a podcast and tell you this is nonsense. Doesn't matter what I publish. They won't even allow me to publish anything probably. It just doesn't matter. So the conflict of interest has gotten to a level where you cannot do that, and it may not even be intentional. That's the thing. Like, there may be some evil people, there may be no evil people. They're just like, they're just stuck in this system so hard they cannot get out of it, because if they get out of it, where's the money going to come from? How am I going to make 100 million to pay all my staff? What's going to happen to my position, right? Think about that. Don't be fooled when somebody says, oh, it's just a nonprofit. Ooh, like, so what? You're a nonprofit. Doesn't mean anything. Are you getting paid, or are you all a team of volunteers? Nobody's a volunteer. Lastly, and most importantly, we did some studies actually. These are survey questions, and we did this not as part of BMO. So one of my companies, SourceSmart, you could go on the website, sourcesmart.com, go on the blog, read the study. We found that there is a correlation between wealth and GPA, between wealth and MCAT cars. And it's not even new. Other researchers have done this too. So this thing causes bias. So if you're the richer you are, the better you do. Why? Because I have no idea why. Could be because your family knows how to handle these tests. That's how maybe you have a family of doctors, or other professional programs. That could be it. So it could be a lot of different reasons. The reason I don't know, but I know that it is correlated and it causes, as a result, enormous bias. And we're not the only people who found this. So it's probably more valid that it's actually happening. So that was my 2 cents, my opinion about MCAT and GPA, why they should be completely banned. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making it for you, go ahead and share it with a friend, subscribe, and I hope to talk to you in the next episode. Talk to you soon.